multiple reports have come out about where the Cincinnati Bengals are going to go with the number 17 pick. I've seen from cornerback to defensive tackle to edge rusher to tight end. I've seen everything. So we're going to go over all those reports and the biggest 5 names to look out for. Maybe not at 17, but maybe second round and just in the draft in general. We're talking about the 5 players that have stood out to me within the last week, meaning their names have been mentioned in reports. Some of them actually surprising that they've been mentioned alongside the Cincinnati Bengals. But I'll jump into that in a little bit. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel. We're on the road to 1,500, and we're getting closer and closer every single day. I can't tell you guys enough. But let's jump right into the first player. The player we've probably talked about the most on this channel, Walter Nolen, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Like I've said, he's it's kind of slipping right now, but he's been my betting favorite for the Bengals to draft for a long, long time. Obviously, that can still change. We still have a little bit less than a month to go. But he's been probably the biggest player named closest to the Bengals out of anybody. 2024 at 48 tackles, 26 of them solo, 6.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. PFF grade-wise, he had 88.9 overall grade. He's 6'3", 305. He is absolutely massive. He's a monster. He will pancake offensive guards like crazy. Go watch his highlights. It's insane what he's able to do, and he's a run stopper, and that's what Cincinnati Bengals need. They need somebody that can stop the run. They already got that in T.J. Slayton, and to add Walter Nolen into that rotation with B.J. Hill as well. Absolutely insane defensive tackle room. So, go watch Walter Nolen highlights. Look him up because he's going to be a name closely tied to the Bengals for the rest of the month leading up to the draft. This next guy is the guy that is really, really surprising to me that he was mentioned with the Bengals and he was in the latest mock draft going to the Bengals was cornerback from Michigan, Will Johnson. I highly doubt he'll be there at 17. But if he's there at 17 and Will Johnson becomes a Cincinnati Bengal, that is probably the absolute steal of the draft, the fact that he fell that far. And the reason they're saying he might fall this far is the fact that he was out for a better half of this last season in college football, dealing with some injuries. But career-wise with Michigan, obviously he's won 3 back-to-back-to-back Big Ten championships, won the national championship, had 57 total career tackles, 10 passes deflected, 9 interceptions. Last season, obviously with injuries, so this is a little bit affected. Don't take this to heart. PFF grade-wise, 76.5. He's 6'2", 202 pounds. He absolutely fits the Al Gordon defensive scheme style. Will Johnson loves to get after the wide receivers. Go back 2 years ago, Michigan versus Ohio State. He was guarding Marvin Harrison Jr. the entire game, and he pretty much locked him up the entire game. Obviously, Marv got some plays, but Will Johnson also got a better half, including not a pick six, but almost a pick six against Marvin Harrison Jr. where he jumped the route. Will Johnson is an absolute beast. If he is a Cincinnati Bengal next year, he will be the starter. He will be the starting cornerback. He will be cornerback 1. That's how good he is. So all of you in the comments who call me biased with Ohio State guys, there you go. I'm being biased towards a Michigan guy. He will be cornerback 1 next season if he falls to 17 and the Cincinnati Bengals pick him up. So go watch Will Johnson's highlights. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of Will Johnson. And if he falls to 17, I would be extremely ecstatic. He's the one Michigan player that I would like to have. Or also Mason Graham. But I don't think either of them will fall. But lately, they're saying Will Johnson might. So I like that. And when I talk about a Michigan player, I have to talk about Ohio State player. One I already mentioned last episode. And after that episode, they announced that Jack Sawyer has actually met with the Bengals. The first team to reach out, to sit down with Jack Sawyer was the Cincinnati Bengals. So Jack Sawyer, we've talked about him a lot. Obviously 6'5", 250 pounds. Edge rusher from Ohio State, the Ohio State. Last season, he had 59 total tackles, 25 of them solo. He had 9 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. PFF grade-wise overall last season, 90.5. I just talked about him last video, so I'm not going to spend that much time. but I could see him going in the second round if we got Will Johnson first round and then Jack Sawyer second round. That might be the best draft ever. He was an absolute monster. Obviously, he would be replacing Sam Hubbard. And I've already said he would be our next Ohio kid, born in Columbus, Ohio. Played Ohio State, and if he went to Cincinnati, he would have played his entire career in Cincinnati, just like Sam Hubbard. So if you want another Sam Hubbard, go get Jack Sawyer. And even as some people have mentioned in the comments, Jack Sawyer is kind of, as of right now, kind of in the same spot Sam Hubbard is, where they are projected second, maybe third round picks. But a lot of people think they have the talent to be first rounders just because of how deep this class is. So Jack Sawyer's second round would be an absolute steal. The passion he plays with and the love for Ohio is definitely there. He wants to stay in Ohio, and if Cincinnati gives him that blessing of staying in Ohio, he's going to fight to the death until we get a Super Bowl, and I could definitely see Jack Sawyer being a part of that. The next, this is all about Al Golden, right? Al Golden, this is his defense now. So don't be surprised if we go after a bunch of Notre Dame players. Obviously, Al Golden, the former Notre Dame defensive coordinator. So, name that has been mentioned. I don't know if he'll be there at 17, but Benjamin Morrison, just like Will Johnson, had struggled with some injuries last season, but he is one of the best, if not the best. Will Johnson and Benjamin Morrison kind of been going back and forth. Cornerback ones in this draft class. 6 foot, 190 pounds. Career-wise, since he was out most of the season last year, 61 career tackles, 18 passes deflected, 9 interceptions. Last season didn't really play, so take this with a grain of salt. PFF grade overall, 71.4. Benjamin Morrison obviously fits the scheme of Al Golden, but he's just a ball hawk. That's what Al Golden's play style is on defense. He wants to get the ball to Joe Burrow and the offense as much as possible. So he wants ball hawks. He wants people that are going to force turnovers, force interceptions, force fumbles, and that's exactly what Benjamin Morrison does. Obviously, he was doing it for them in Notre Dame, was doing it for Al Golden in Notre Dame, and I wouldn't be surprised if he falls to 17 that we'd pick him up. The fact that he fits the scheme so perfectly, and he already has a relationship with Al Golden. And I feel the same way. He would most likely be our cornerback one if we drafted him. Most likely. Because then, like Dax Hill, I think Dax Hill is probably going to go to that nickel position, place in Benjamin Morrison in that cornerback room, and I think we actually have a solid cornerback room, like a really, really, really solid cornerback room with a bunch of ball hawks that can get interceptions like that. So Benjamin Morrison would fit perfectly into the Al Golden play style. Obviously, he already played for him. The last guy we're going to talk about today, is also a Notre Dame Fighting Irish guy, a guy we talked about a lot a few months ago, Xavier Watts. Safety from Notre Dame. I would like to add a safety, and I think we could get Xavier Watts in the second round. 6 foot, 203 pounds. Last season had, listen to this, 83 total tackles, 53 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, one fumble recovery. Listen to this, as a safety, 6 interceptions last season alone. 2024, 6 interceptions. PFF grade wise overall, 89.7. Absolute insane. This guy, just like Benjamin Morrison, fits the Al Golden scheme perfectly. Obviously, Al Golden recruited him. He fits it perfectly. He is a ball hawk in the safety room. That's exactly what you want. A guy that can go up and get an interception for you as a safety and is an amazing tackler who can also force fumbles. Yeah, sign me up for that. I think we get Xavier Watts in the second round. Obviously, you would kind of have to pick and choose between this list. Jack Sawyer, Xavier Watts. Depending on what we do, if we get a defensive tackle or edge first round, then I'm picking Xavier Watts immediately in the second round. And putting him in our secondary, putting him in a safety room, absolutely insane. Go watch his highlights. Let me know what you think of him down below. And think about this, Notre Dame, don't be surprised if we draft a bunch of Notre Dame Fighting Irish players. The fact of Al Golden being our new defensive coordinator. I'm just going to put that out there. But once again, just go over all of them again so you can go look each one of them up individually to go do your own research on them and just watch their highlights because they're entertaining to watch. Defensive tackle, Walter Nolen from Ole Miss. Go watch his highlights. Great player. Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan, also a great player. Jack Sawyer, defensive edge from Ohio State. Then Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame, and another Notre Dame guy, safety, Xavier Watts. Go watch all their highlights and let me know down below how you feel about all of them and what you would like the Bengals to do with all 5 of these players. Obviously, won't be able to go to them all. If I could get them all, I would like them all. But it all depends on what we go with pick number 1. Like if not pick number 1, our first round pick. If Will Johnson's there, most likely will be Will Johnson. If Benjamin Morrison's there, will be most likely be Benjamin Morrison. I'm still kind of leaning towards probably Walter Nolen. That just feels like what they're leaning towards. But they also might get a guard like Tyler Booker or Tate Ratledge. So let me know down below what you feel like they'll go with at pick number 17. Let me know also which one of the 5 players that I've mentioned today you want to go after the most. And don't forget to like this video. Share this video with other Bengal friends, because Bengal football is better together. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bengals Digest channel. We're on the road to 1,500, and we're getting closer and closer every single day. We're not going to hit it by my birthday, but I appreciate all the love you guys have shown this channel. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'm Carson Lokey for the Bengals Digest channel. Have an amazing one.